So Krystal, she's the co-host of Rising. Rising is one of the most prominent and honestly one of the best online news channels on YouTube. And Krystal was speaking about the left. What's holding the left back from being the political force to be reckoned with? The political animals that go out kind of like a guerrilla force and get something done for the issues that we care about. What's holding us back from reaching those levels of success? So check out what she had to say.
All right, Krystal, what's on your radar?
Well, you will of course recall that in the first massive corporate bailout, Bernie and AOC lambasted the corporatist elements, and AOC even voted no. But they did little to actually slow its passage. Elizabeth Warren, of course, famously laid out 8 demands for the structure of the corporate bailout. Not one of those demands was actually met, but she meekly went along with it all anyway. And in this latest bill, Democrats got rolled on almost literally everything so badly that even mainstream pundits noticed. Here's Michael Grunwald declaring unequivocally that Democrats cave. Nothing for states or cities, nothing for election protection or the post office, no oversight, no limits on fossil fuel bailouts, no food stamps. They got some testing. Somehow that's a GOP concession, but no contact tracing. Jamel Bowie quote tweeted that, adding, "The wild thing is that defenders of this capitulation will insist that Dems have no leverage, despite controlling one chamber of Congress and enough votes in the Senate to kill pretty much anything that needs to break cloture in order to pass." So the question that's most interesting to me here is why progressives haven't been able to exercise more influence in these negotiations. The fact that they haven't much succeeded in shaping the approach has truly calamitous consequences, as Bernie and AOC and the Progressive Caucus are really the only ones who have proposed a response that remotely approaches the scale of what is required and what the American people want and deserve. So what are you saying? Yes. On the one side, you have mainstream Democrats who don't view economic progressives as their friends, but rather their adversaries to be managed, emotionally manipulated, thwarted, and ultimately destroyed. On the other hand, you have progressives who want to do the right thing. It's not a bad impulse, it's a noble impulse, but it effectively neuters the entire movement, as Cenk just colorfully explained. Here's the bottom line. We need to ultimately take a page from the right and be willing to be hated. Embrace it even, as they seem to. I don't really know why the right is more willing to play the villain. I'm going to ask Sagar after I finish monologuing. But the fact that they're willing to do exactly that and to great effect is just manifestly true. Think about it. The Tea Party, the Freedom Caucus, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, the reopen the government protesters right now. They didn't care when the media said they were bad and mean and ruining the country. But if you aren't willing to get uncomfortable to fight for working people, then what are you actually willing to do? Why didn't progressives fight the first bailout bill? They didn't want to get blamed for holding up essential aid. Why didn't progressives fight this bill? Because they didn't want to get blamed for holding up essential aid. And why won't progressives fight the next bailout bill? I'll give you one guess. Same reason why so many pledge unity to the Democratic nominee, no ifs, ands, or buts, because they were totally scarred by the fact that they were disingenuously blamed for Donald Trump's victory. If you're going to wield power as a minority coalition, you have to use guerrilla tactics. Frankly, you got to convince your enemies that you're a little bit crazy, unreasonable, willing to blow it all up if they're not careful and give you what you want.
Krystal is 100% correct. Absolutely 100% correct. And it's a tough pill to swallow, particularly for those who might be in the progressive leadership. You know what I'm saying? The Bernie Sanders of the world, the AOC of the world, the Ro Khannas of the world, Pramila Jayapals of the world, the people who are in Congress, on the floor, with all the power. Or at least have a say in what ends up going on. Have a say, have the ear of those who have all the power. You know what I'm saying? And for those people, the progressive leadership, this might be a hard pill to swallow because they're trying. I think in their heads, I think in Bernie Sanders' eyes and AOC's eyes, they think they're doing the best that they can, right? They say, I've received all the tools available and I am doing the best I can with those tools. But this is what Krystal's trying to say. Whether consciously or subconsciously, they are scared to be hated. They're absolutely scared to be hated because they realize that let's take the coronavirus stimulus package, for example, right? If they decided to hold up that entire process, the first time and the second time, and said, no, you either break this bill up into your little corporate bailout package and the bailout for the people, or we hold it up, right? We filibuster, we use the Senate rules and proceedings to our advantage, and we hold this bill up until you meet our demands. You hold this bill up until there is a UBI included. You hold this bill up until there is a moratorium on rent or evictions or whatever you can actually get squeaked by, right? To do that, you're going to take so much flack in the media, man. You're going to take so much heat. You're going to have MSNBC, CNN calling you, oh my God, they're obstructionists. They have blood on their hands, right? They don't want to be blamed. It's the same exact thing that happened in the 2020 primaries, right? When you had the media already against this guy, already against the entire progressive left and what they stand for. And because of that, Bernie was absolutely unwilling to say, Joe Biden, you're corrupt. Joe Biden, you're a corporate sellout. Joe Biden, this is what you stand for. This is what I stand for. I'm the real electable one. You can hardly put together sentences. He did not want to make that contrast and expose him for the terrible candidate that he was because he didn't want to be hated. He didn't want all the fire coming at him more than it already was, more than it's already natural of being a progressive. They already hate you. But see, that's the key. They already hate you. No matter what you do, Bernie, AOC, Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna, all of you, no matter what you do in office, no matter what you stand for, no matter what you say, they are always going to hate you because you're an existential threat to their job. You're an existential threat to their interests from the moment you stepped in. The fact that you represent the people is an existential threat to what they represent because they represent the corporations. They already hate your guts. So you might as well just run with it. Because either way, they're going to call you a socialist. Either way, they're going to call you radical and crazy. So you might as well use the most guerrilla, pesty, virulent tactics possible to go out there and get something done for the American people. Welcome their disdain. Welcome their hatred. And they say that they do, but I really don't think they do. When Bernie actually voted for the package. When you had other people on the left voting for the package. And the only one who's come out and said they didn't was AOC. And even then, was she on the floor holding up proceedings, demanding that we got at least something more out of the package, not just some measly one-time payment, as now 26 million people have gone unemployed in the last 5 weeks, as people are starving, as people die on a daily basis. That's your job. You gotta welcome their hatred. If you want to get stuff done, right? They talk all the time about how, oh my God, this is a terrible time in our lives. This is a very important and essential point in history. This is essential. I agree. We need Medicare for all. We need a living wage. We need tuition-free college. We need all that's included in the progressive agenda. And the American people agree with you. But this is the point. You're going up against forces who don't want to give you nothing. They don't want to give you no crumbs. They don't even want to give you like a hamster's pube worth of anything of substance. Because that goes against their interests. That goes against their representatives, right? The corporations. The people who paid their bills and kept the lights on in their campaign offices. The reason they're elected. The corporations. They don't want to do nothing that goes against their little corporate buddies. They're never going to give you anything. Like as a little handout. You got to work for it. Fight for it and destroy them for it. This is a war. Okay, not an actual war. Don't. There's a lot of people out there going to listen to what I say and be like, oh, progressives are so violent, dude, crazy, radical Marxists. Shut up. All right? There's a political war going on out here, man. And it's undeniable at this point. And what's crazy to me is that we're, right, the progressive army behind Bernie Sanders and AOC and the leaders. And we're out here showing how angry we are, how fed up with the Democratic establishment we are. With the entire establishment, we're sick of it. We're sick of establishment politics. We want real change. We're sick of it. We're out here trying to fight a war. But they don't want to lead us towards a war. This was the softest primary that we've seen in like decades, where the leading candidate didn't even want to call out this Joe Biden. This guy who was arguably one of the weakest Democratic frontrunners we've ever seen. The man can't even speak. Not only should you call him out on all of his crap, his bad record, his bad votes, the fact that he can't speak, it's your job to. Because you talk about beating Donald Trump. Now look, this guy's probably going to lose. It was your job to call him out for his flaws. It was your job to play aggressively for our movement, for America, you have to be able to welcome their hatred because they're going to hate you regardless. And it's not just so we can win. It's for the good of the American people. It's because these times are so important. It's because people are dying on a daily basis. People are starving. People can't afford to put food on the table. The planet is dying. It's because these are such essential times that we need you to be the guerrilla force that you can. A guerrilla political force that's pesty, right? That holds up congressional proceedings at every turn. That is annoying. It's a thorn in the side of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell and all in the establishment leadership. You give them a run for their absolute money anytime they try to sell out the American people like they did with these stimulus packages. Giving us 2 days worth of aid as you reconvene. What is that? Giving us a $1,200 one-time payment? What is that? The payment protection program, in terms of the funding that it actually received, it's a joke. It's all a joke. None of y'all should have voted for that. Y'all should have been waving your arms. Hey, look at me. I'm not going to vote for this, and I will hold this bill up until something of consequence is passed. That should have been the game plan from the jump. But y'all didn't want to get the hate. So again, back to Krystal's point, back to Kyle's point, back to my point, back to the truth. If you want to get something done in this town, in Washington, D.C., in America, with the way that the system is rigged against you and everything that we're trying to fight for, you have to be bold in your anger and in your annoyance. Annoy the hell out of them. Frustrate the hell out of them. Be the thorn in their side and fight them at every single turn. Be obstructionist and be everything that the Tea Party was and the Republican establishment was under Obama. Be aggressive. Have a spine. That's how you get something done. But until you actually have a spine, until you actually have the guts to welcome their hatred, we ain't gonna see nothing done. We ain't gonna see nothing done. It's gonna be the exact same story every single time. People getting screwed by the system over and over and over again. Y'all say y'all don't believe in that. So what I'm saying directly to the progressive leadership, take our advice. Be bold, be aggressive, be a thorn in their side, and welcome their hatred.
With the boys, yeah, we making all this noise. Can't complain, riding in the fast lane. To the top, we don't stop up till past 5 o'clock. Smoking trees.